be recorded. Okay. So the first order of business today is public comment. Is there anybody who would like to speak during public comment? Please put your name in the chat and we will call on you in order. Tyler Griffin, Chair of the Board of Finance. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. My name is Tyler Griffin, 349A North Street in Willimantic, also the chairman of the Board of Finance. You folks have been coming to a lot of my meetings, so I figured I would swing by to your meeting and say congratulations on having your budget passed on the first go around last week. It was super exciting. I am super excited that I think the effort that we've made this past year of working together, communicating well, has gone a long way. And I hope we can continue with that going forward. I don't see a reason why we wouldn't be able to do that. But I strongly believe that our openness, our communication that we've had is a very strong reason why this budget passed this first go around last week. So I just want to come here, see some of you folks that I haven't seen. And I know Google isn't always great, so sometimes you were on, I didn't see you. But I just wanted to take a moment, thank you, the Board of Ed, the staff on here, Superintendent. The Board of Finance has nothing but great things to say about you. You torture Neil by sending him to most of our meetings, so we appreciate that. And Rita as well. So again, thank you all for the effort you've put in this past year to work with me and my board. I sincerely appreciate it, and I look forward to continuing that effort going forward.
Thank you, Tyler. It's very nice to see you. We will understand if you don't want to stay with us for the full meeting, but you're welcome to stay for as long as you like. And I want to acknowledge in the chat that we heard from Michelle Warren, which must be formerly Michelle Firestone. I did learn last week that Claire Galvin has moved on to a new job, and that Michelle has come back to cover the Windham beat. So welcome back, Michelle, and it's nice to have you here with us. And there are some familiar faces on the boards, I'm sure, and some new faces for you on the boards. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak during public comment? Okay, I don't see any other people raising their hands. So we'll move on to approval of the Board of Education meeting minutes from May 12th, 2021. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Paula, second by Mark. Okay. Are there any comments, corrections on the meeting minutes? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote, please. Janet.
Good evening, everybody. Dr. Cabana Owen.
Aye.
Mr. Doyle.
Aye.
Dr. Gallucci.
Aye.
Dr. Gomez. Dr. Gomez, can I get a thumbs up?
I mean, can you give us a thumbs up if you're voting yes? Oh,
He's playing Space Invaders.
I will have to come back to him. Go ahead, Janet.
Ms. Haney.
Aye.
Ms. Ide has not joined us tonight. Ms. Lambert.
Aye.
Mr. O'Neill.
Aye.
And Ms. Ray.
I'm sorry, I just joined. What are we voting on?
The
Minutes from the last meeting.
Okay, aye. Accept them.
I mean, May 12th meeting. Yeah.
Accept it.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to entertain a motion to make an addition to the agenda tonight, I would entertain a motion to add an action item as item 5, approval of the budget surplus carryover. And so that would be under the action items this evening, and it would be number 5 on that action item, approval of the budget surplus carryover. Would
So
somebody like
moved,
to make?
Tracy.
Moved by Tracy Lambert. Do I get a second?
Second.
Second.
Second by Brendan. Okay. Any discussion before we vote to add that to the agenda? Okay, I guess we'll take a vote on that, please.
Dr. Cabana Owen,
Aye.
Mr. Doyle,
Aye.
Dr. Galucci,
Aye.
Dr. Gomez,
Aye.
Ms. Haney,
Aye.
Ms. Ide,
Lynn?
Ms. Ide,
I said aye.
I'm sorry, I'm here. Ms. Lambert,
Aye.
Mr. O'Neill,
Aye.
Ms. Ray.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was just an omission. We wanted to make sure we took action on this item. Okay, so we're on to the reports from Dr. Youngberg, and I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Okay, so the first piece of information in your board packet was some information about the graduation statistics. I have Principal Kavanaugh on the line if there's any specific questions. But as I shared with the board, there's a number of things that are currently happening at the high school to try to make sure as many of our kiddos graduate on time as possible. That's always the goal. The final report card, or progress report, I should say, isn't due out until May 28th. So we'll have some more information right after that's released. But right now they are doing, putting a number of procedures or processes, supports in place, like biweekly progress reports, like sending letters home, making sure families are aware what needs to be done. Students are meeting with their counselors and administrators. The teachers and staff are making home visits. They have instituted catch-up Saturdays and after-school supports, and they're really trying to push the students over the line to graduate on time. We just today, data was released to us. I didn't get a chance to put it in a fancy graph, but I can share some of the details with you. The state has calculated the 2019-2020 graduation rate, and we're hoping that this year calculation looks the same, because the high school has increased the graduation rate from the previous year. So for example, all of our students in 2018-2019, the graduation rate was 80.3%. And in 2019-2020, it is now at 82%. So we're hoping to surpass that, but that's great news. And I will share with the board the information that was shared today, but we did see an increase last year and we hope to continue that, and we'll know more soon. I don't know if the board members have specific questions that they would like to ask about the kiddos and about our graduation. Tracy, I think I saw your hand.
Yes.
Just really quick, in the packet, it said that as of today, there are 135 students attending Windham High School. That is just seniors, right? There's 135 seniors, of which 124 are graduating, not 135 attending. And I'm
Yes,
looking at.
I apologize. That would be my mistake. Yes, it should say 135 seniors attending
Okay.
Windham High
I
School.
didn't know if there was just 135 students coming to school, or if there was 135
No.
seniors in the graduating class.
It's seniors, and I apologize for leaving off that word. And right, we're focused on
Yeah.
the
We're focused on
124 of
seniors, and
them.
that's what you were looking at.
Correct.
Okay. Thank
Pam,
you.
you have something to add?
There's 586 students attending Windham High School.
There we go. Thank you.
I was just going to add that
Something,
that
Pam?
number doesn't include our students that graduated early in January as well.
Which also helps the graduation rate, right, Pam?
Yes.
Okay, and Mark had his hand up.
Yeah, just Dr. Youngberg, can you give us an idea of the success for getting these kids to attend these extra sessions? I mean, I understand it's great that staff's putting the effort out. Are we getting reciprocal effort from the kids?
Go ahead, Pam. You have some data to share on the extra help sessions?
So after school, we run extra help from 2 to 4, Monday through Thursday. And we have about 12 students that attend pretty much every day, or varied days. And I know the counselors work really hard so that if there's, a student that's a senior that needs, for example, to do some extra work in civics, we make sure that there's a staff member there to support them doing that. We had 2 Saturdays, catch-up Saturdays so far. The first one, we had over 70 students attend. And the second one, we had in between like 20, 25 students attend, but I think that's kind of typical of the students because the second one wasn't really in need of a catch-up. A lot of seniors or students wait until they really need to catch up before they attend. So I think that that's what's happening after school right now. A lot more students are attending because it's getting to be crunch time.
I have a senior at home and I can totally vouch for that. Is a true story. Yeah.
Yep.
Mark, does that answer your question? You all set? Okay. Any other questions on this point? Okay, so you can keep moving along.
Sorry about that. Somehow I got muted. So the next piece of information in the board packet was the board had requested some information about student enrollment and attendance. So I shared with them the data straight out of EdSite, the information that shows that we have approximately 50 students total who are currently being homeschooled and or have been withdrawn from the system. So that, and I shared with the board in the packet the enrollment data over the last few years, so you can sort of get a sense of where we are with that. We have seen a fair number of students return to in-person learning since we've made the adjustment, most especially in pre-K through 8. We've seen the increases in attendance. We did ask families for the last 6 weeks of school if they could please make a decision either to stay fully in person or fully virtual and not go back and forth, because as I shared with the board, what was happening is kids were being virtual students on Monday and Tuesday and then deciding to be in person on Thursday and Friday. It got really confusing and disruptive to the process. So we did ask them to make a decision, and many of them have returned in person. So there are still students who have withdrawn, and there are a number of students, as I mentioned, that are not currently living in town but may still be accessing Windham Public Schools virtually, and we're working on that. It's an interesting little dilemma of ours. Technically, you're not supposed to be allowed to do that, but it's happened, and we know some students, because of COVID, made some residence changes, and we have had a standing practice of allowing kids if they withdrew from the district to finish out the school year. It's been sort of a common practice, but we know that it can't look like that in 21-22. So the schools are still doing a great job of trying to track down every single kiddo and every single family. I don't know if there's any specific questions.
That's interesting that there are kids who are students that are attending from outside the district. It could be possibly temporary housing or staying with a family member who's around more and not away working or something like that, sort of a safety and better stability issue for families that may be resolved or may not. So
right, and
we're going to need to take a look at that issue, and I wonder if other districts are struggling with the same thing.
I have heard that it's not uncommon from other superintendents, but of course we're not offering a full virtual experience next year. So if they're not coming in person, they won't be able to maintain that. Mm-hmm. But you're right. Some people made decisions because of COVID to go stay with other relatives, and they didn't withdraw from school at the time, and that's where we are. Mm. Any other questions? All right, the last piece of my report is the first reading of the child abuse policy 5141.4. I don't know if there's any specific questions about that. It's just the first reading, so. Okay.
Just that it's tough to just even read that.
Yeah, I know. Agreed.
Sad. thank you for all the work on it. And anybody have any questions? Okay. We're zooming right along here. We're on to committee reports. Is there any report from the Finance and Audit Committee, Mark?
Yeah, we met. We had a discussion of the April year-to-date finances, and it looks like we're cruising in to the end of the year with some type of surplus. The exact amount is not 100% sure. The administration is going to work on a list of potential usage, and so we know where we're going to end up. We know we will end up with some sort of surplus that we're going to return to the town. It's just a matter of how we structure it and where we use it. We discussed the transfers again, and that's all still part of this ongoing process of making corrections from budget versus actual, as is affected by the covert issue, and I believe those are on the agenda for approval tonight. And then we had discussion about Rita had developed some pie chart that seemed to help explain money in and money out, and so we're going to continue to use that type of graphic to track, especially with all this extra grant money, that's the ESSER grants, and to try and track where that money's coming in and how it's going out, so we have a good feel for it, so we know, as Tracy has mentioned a couple of times, in a couple of years when we hit the cliff again, we'll know where the money has to come from or where it went. And then we also just mentioned that we were very happy that the budget passed on its, we had a budget referendum item just in case it didn't, but it did pass, so we didn't have to worry about that. And that's essentially what we talked about.
Well, any questions on the Finance Committee and Audit Committee report? Okay. We'll be taking action on the budget transfers under action items. School planning and design. Tracy.
We have not met. We meet at the beginning of the meeting. We will meet, I believe, next week. And I will try to get Ms. Test to the agenda on time.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions for Tracy? Okay. Policy Committee, Ilda.
Yes, hello, good evening, everyone. We have not met yet since our last meeting. We had a scheduled meeting for tomorrow, but we canceled it because there was a lot of other meetings going on. So we are in the process of figuring out next week, either it will be a Wednesday or a Thursday, and we'll keep you posted. Thank you.
Any questions for the Policy Committee, Inilda? Okay. Executive Committee, there's nothing to report right now from Executive Committee, except I'll use this little time slot to report that we had a special meeting of the Board of Education earlier this evening, and we have another one planned tomorrow. Both those meetings, tonight's meeting and tomorrow's, are executive session meetings to discuss the superintendent's evaluation. We made good progress tonight. We'll be meeting again tomorrow, and moving forward in June to set goals and measures with Dr. Youngberg, and move forward on a contract negotiation. So that is where that is right now. And I look forward to seeing the board members again tomorrow evening. And want to thank Dr. Youngberg for giving us a very thorough presentation this evening. Any comments from board members on that? Okay, and then I know there was an ad hoc elementary school consolidation committee since we last met. Paula, is there anything you'd like to report to us?
Well, just briefly, we did meet last evening. We have visited 2 schools, very interesting. There was a lot of discussion among committee members about things we need to be looking at in addition to consolidating schools. looking at facility needs, the atmosphere in which our students are learning. Mary had lots of comments on that regarding physical facilities. Katina talked about things that we need to look at, multiple things, and certainly the acuity of our students is an overarching issue that we need to be aware of in making decisions going forward. So there are lots of thoughts and lots of considerations. Dr. Youngberg did bring us back to our initial concern that, again, we have to look at being fiscally responsible. We have to look at the needs of our students, equity in services. And so we have decided at this point, Fryer Associates is doing their physical looking at facilities, physical plant facilities, capacity and needs for all of the buildings. We're going to take it a little slower in terms of our meeting. We're not going to meet in June. We're going to continue to do our school visits. We're going to continue to talk with Fryer Associates, and we want to be informed. We want to be fully informed and make the proper decisions. Dr. Youngberg also mentioned that the prior facilities study is on the website so that folks can access that for kind of comparisons and taking a look at where we were then, what's our situation now, and where we need to go forward. And I think everybody agrees with one thing, that it is an opportunity here, and maybe an opportunity to think about other things that will fit within our elementary schools in terms of maybe design. And that's it. So we will be scheduling some more school visits. We'll be posting those, and we'll take a look at whether we need to meet in July or not, seeing as probably lots of people will be away, but that's it.
Thank you, Paula. Are there any comments or questions? It sounds like a prudent thing to keep, doing the visits and wait until we get more information from Fryer to really delve into some of the questions. So thanks for sharing that with us. So here we go into action items. So the first order of business is approval of revisions to policy number 6142.101, school wellness policy. We had the first reading of that previously. I would entertain a motion to take action on this.
So moved.
Motion made by Mark,
Second.
seconded by Tracy. Is there any discussion?
I have a comment.
Sure, Mary, go right ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I was just reviewing it, and I was very happy to see about recess being mentioned. And I think since the time my children began in public schools, there wasn't always the requirement that there be a minimum of 20 minutes all through middle school. So I'm very happy to see that in the policy. And I would just like to stress, as a great fan of recess, that be the minimum, and we do all we can, especially with the elementary school students, to have at least 2 periods. But I'm just acknowledging that I'm happy to see the minimum and hoping that it could be expanded.
Can I comment on that? Can I just quickly
And
just
I'm gonna
comment?
let my dog out. I'm still listening to you guys.
Okay. So I don't know if I can guarantee we're going to have 2 periods of recess, Mary, but I will tell you that in the elementary schools, we will have far more movement breaks and breaks from sitting in a desk and being, a passive learner. The brain works that way. We need the kids to move around. We need oxygen levels to be up. So we're definitely going to move our kids around more than they've moved before. So I appreciate that feedback.
Well, I love recess too, so. Is there any other discussion on this item? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote then, please, Janet.
Dr. Cabana,
Aye.
Mr. Doyle,
Aye.
Dr. Galucci,
Aye.
Dr. Gomez,
Aye.
Ms. Haney,
Aye.
Ms. Ide,
Aye.
Ms. Lambert,
Aye.
Mr. O'Neill,
Aye.
Ms. Ray.
Aye.
Thank you.
Lynn, you're muted.
My dog is being very unruly and barking, so, sorry. I'll entertain a motion to approve the budget transfers.
So moved. Katina.
Second.
Okay, second by Mark. Now, it was in our packet. Mark, is there anything or you or anybody in the finance committee want to say? There are a lot of them
There are a lot of them.
this time around because it's really the end of the year and we're trying
Right.
to true things up, but go
Yeah, I
ahead.
see Rita's online, so if there's anyone want details, Rita's available to give them to us. But yeah, you were right. There are a lot of them. It has to do with, as I said before, with correcting. There's a few corrections still left for budget versus actual. It's mainly a matter of covering where we didn't spend money for COVID, but where we did spend money for COVID. I don't think, is there anything else, Rita, that I'm missing in terms of the details?
I think you said it. I mean, it is a lot of COVID related transfers to spend a surplus.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions about all the transfers? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote, please, Janet.
Cabana,
Aye.
Mr. Doyle,
Aye.
Dr. Galucci,
Aye.
Dr. Gomez,
Aye.
Ms. Haney,
Aye.
Ms. Ide,
Aye.
Ms. Lambert,
Abstain, please.
Mr. O'Neill,
Aye.
Ms. Ray.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now we have approval of the early Head Start 2021-2022 school calendar, which was in our packets. I'll entertain a motion on that.
So move, Tracy Lambert.
Thank you.
Second.
Second by Jaime. Any discussion on this?
May I, Lynn? It's Tracy.
Yes, go right ahead.
I don't believe that we've approved a early Head Start calendar before. We may have, and I just may be forgetting it. I'm curious if this is a first and what would be the impetus for it?
That's a really good question and not one that I know if we approved them before. Is Aliki on the call by any chance? I know she said it had to be approved based on her grant status. But I don't know if this is something historical in nature. I don't have enough context.
I'm just curious, that's all. If we don't have an answer right now, that's fine. It's no big deal.
I know she said we needed board approval on it, so.
Then I am happy to make the motion to approve
Right,
it.
thank you, appreciate that. I'll get you the information about that, though.
That's a really good question. But if we have to do it, we have to do it. So any further discussion? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote on this, please, Janet.
Dr. Cabana, Mr. Doyle.
Aye.
I got your shake. Mr. Doyle,
Aye.
Dr. Galucci,
Aye.
Dr. Gomez,
Aye.
Ms. Haney,
Aye.
Ms. Ide,
Aye.
Ms. Lambert,
Aye.
Mr. O'Neill,
Aye.
Ms. Ray.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, rolling right along. Next item is I'll entertain a motion for approval of the IDEA grant application.
So moved.
Mark made the motion. Do I get a
Second,
second?
Katina.
Katina made the second. Any discussion, any questions anybody have on this? It seemed pretty clear. Seeing no hands, we'll take a roll call vote.
Dr. Cabana,
Aye.
Mr. Doyle,
Aye.
Dr. Galucci,
Aye.
Dr. Gomez,
Aye.
Ms. Haney,
Aye.
Ms. Ide,
Aye.
Ms. Lambert,
Aye.
Mr. O'Neill,
Aye.
Ms. Ray.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, and then the motion that we need to, the fifth motion action item that we have is I need to have a motion to move that the board approve the setting aside of 2% of its 2020-2021 budget unspent surplus into the next year, said amount to be held by the town in a special fund.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mark, seconded by Jaime. Now folks may remember this is something that we had discussed going into our budget discussions this year, that because of COVID and unexpended funds related to that, we would have a bigger surplus than usual. We are taking advantage of a state statute which allows this kind of transfer to happen. And the town will put that in a special fund for us, and we may draw it down as we need it through the year without having to go to the Board of Finance or the voters or anybody for approval. And the Board of Finance took action on this a month ago, or like around a month ago. And so now in order to make this happen and be ready to do the transfer of these funds at the end of our fiscal year, we need to take action on it as a board to approve this. Does anybody have any questions about that? Yes, Tracy.
Lynn, these funds have no restrictions. We can access them as we see fit, right?
Yes.
We don't have to make any justification to either the town or the Board of Finance.
No.
Okay, just making that clarification.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I understood it correctly when I read the paper. Thank you.
Yeah, when we first started discussing this, we weren't sure how that would work, and if we were going to do it, I was going to ask for something in writing allowing us to have unrestricted access. But as it turns out, we're allowed to under that statute to do this if they set up that fund.
Lynn,
Now,
it's Rita.
Rita? Go
Yeah,
ahead, Rita.
do we need the exact amount in the minutes? Because I have the exact amount for you.
If you would like to give us that, we could add that.
So that we have
You
it.
could amend the motion. Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, 971,995.
971,995.
Right.
Would the people who made the motion accept that as a friendly amendment?
Yep.
Okay, so the motion, Janet, will specify that exact dollar amount of $971,995.
I need a refresher here.
Yes.
Okay, refresh my memory. Maybe if there are no restrictions, and why don't we just have the money in the board accounts? Why give it to the board, to the town? If with no restrictions, if we can just withdraw at any moment.
So
Okay,
again,
legislatively, the Board of Education is not allowed to carry a surplus over.
Okay.
Yeah. We'd have to give it back to the town, Jaime.
Yeah, okay, that was the reason. We're not allowed to have a surplus. Thank you very much.
and the actual legislation spells out that it goes into a special fund that the town has for
I
that.
just
reason.
forgot that
Yep,
small
it's all good.
Yeah, it'll be in its own special fund for us.
detail.
So are there any further questions about that? Okay, seeing none, this is great that we're able to take advantage of this statute and do this. And the Board of Finance wholeheartedly supported this also. So that was good. We'll take a roll call vote.
Dr. Cabana,
Aye.
Mr. Joy,
Aye.
Dr. Galucci,
Aye.
Dr. Gomez,
I
Ms. Haney,
Aye.
Ms. Ide, Ms. Lambert,
Aye.
Mr. O'Neill,
Aye.
Ms. Ray.
Aye.
Thank you.
You're on mute, Lynn.
Sorry, with that being said, that's the end of the official business of the meeting and we're on to public comment. Is there anybody who would like to speak during public comment? You can put your name into the chat or raise your hand and unmute yourself. Tracy.
I just wanted to congratulate Ms. Kavanaugh and her staff, teachers who exhaustively put on a fabulous prom last Friday. That was well attended by very spectacular students who were respectful and polite, even when she reminded them to put their masks on, which was a mood killer, but the kids were dancing and they were having a great time. They had food, lots of staff pitched in to make this run smoothly, and the kids had a great time. And after not having had a prom last year for the juniors, this was the only prom they were going to have. I'd like to applaud them for a really fabulous job done on Friday night.
Thank you.
Thanks for acknowledging that. Some of the pictures I saw were lovely from the evening. Oh, and you were the one taking the pictures, Tracy, huh? Okay, great. Thank you. So is there anybody else who would like to speak during public comment? Okay, seeing, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:39.
I move, we move.
Let's move.
Okay, meeting adjourned. I think it's 3 minutes earlier than last meeting. I don't know. We had
Yes, I think
short
so.
meetings in a row.
Thank you, everybody. See you tomorrow night.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Good
night.
night, everyone.
Right.
I started the trend.
Yes, Mary.
Time for cookies.
Streaming.